Okay guys, so welcome to my tutorial video on press-ups. So for a lot of people, especially starting out in fitness and CrossFit, they struggle a lot with press-ups and upper body strength, especially when you're under fatigue or out of breath. But these are things that are a really nice body weight movement that transfers into a lot of other movements, especially in CrossFit. So you see a lot of people when they start doing press-ups on their knees. So if I show you the variations that we see in the gym. So to start with, people will have their bum in the air, they'll have their arms wide, their elbows pointing outwards, and they'll look at trying to get their chest as low as they can to the floor. The next variation will be where they've got their bum down and more in a plank position, and again they're trying to get their chest to the floor, which is great. So then you see people with their elbows tucked in and their hands a little bit more like this. So that's the next step. So elbows tucked in from the knees, bum down in a nice plank, and just pushing chest to the floor from the knees. Now that's another thing we can use is an ab mat. So from the knees down to the ab mat, pushing up. Or if you're at home, a couple of cushions underneath your chest to make it a little bit easier, down and back up. So the reason that we have our elbows tucked in a little bit more is to do with our shoulder stability, and then how that then transfers to other movements. So from anything like a toes to bar movement with your lats and your shoulders and you pull down, to anything like a ring muscle up or a ring dip where you're going to be having to hold your elbows into your sides. So we want to start practicing that in the push-up position. So for a lot of people with the push-up, they get stuck doing push-ups on their knees, and I for one was one of those people who couldn't do full push-ups on my feet. I could only do them from my knees, and if I did do them from my feet, I sort of fell down to the floor. So if you're pretty good now at doing press-ups from your knees and you feel like your arms are quite good, you know, you've got good capacity in your triceps and your arms, the way to start getting a full push-up from your toes is to start in your plank position. So up here on your toes like this, trying to stay nice and tight. So again, you're going to sink the elbows back and lower your chest and your thighs towards the floor, nice and slowly. You're going to drop your knees and you're going to push back up the way that you would do from your knees. Then you're going to come back up into a plank. You're going to lower yourself, drop the knees, back up, and so on and so forth. So once you've worked on that eccentric lowering, you can either slow it down, you can start to speed it up if it's something that you want to do within a workout. Then you want to start seeing if you can then lower yourself and push back up. So again, I would advise having a mat or two underneath your chest between your hands. Same thing, you're going to lower down, chest to the mat, try and push yourself back up until you lose a mat and you get better at that until you can do them from the floor. So for here, trying to stay nice and tight, pushing yourself back up. Okay, so once you've got your full push-up position, if you want to build volume in your push-ups, a good way of doing that is practicing them regularly. So you can start putting them into your daily routine, your warm-ups, doing them a few times a week. And what I would suggest doing is try and push to your maximum. So say you're pretty comfortable with doing 5 in a row. Let's start seeing if you can push it to 6 or 7. What you want is for your final push-up to be really, really, really difficult, to the point where you feel like you're losing your core. Now what I mean by that is we've probably all been there where we're really tired and we start snaking. Okay, Once again, that isn't going to help you to increase volume in your push-ups, if that's the case. So I would say you want to try and push it to the point where you almost feel like that's happening, but you think really hard about holding your core nice and tight. And it might be that that very last push-up looks a bit like this. Okay, it's slower. So a bit like a squat when you're doing heavy squats, you know, that last squat from the bottom, it feels like it takes ages to get back up. But that is where you're going to start building strength in your legs for your squat and strength in your core and your shoulders for your push-up. So once you've got that max number, it's then giving yourself probably a few minutes rest and then trying another max set. And like I say, trying to do them regularly in order to build up that patterning in your body and the strength and building it into your routine. So, good luck guys.